Nobody warns you how strange it gets near the end of your awakening. Not strange like chaos, but strange like standing in a place you've always known, and suddenly realizing it no longer belongs to you. The final stage doesn't come with fireworks or angel choirs, and it doesn't look spiritual at all. There's no glow, no bliss, just an unraveling. Quiet. Inward. Like threads slowly being pulled from a tapestry you thought was you. People say awakening is beautiful, and it is. But what they forget to mention is that near the end, it feels like losing everything that used to make sense. If you've been feeling lost, disconnected, or like something invisible is shifting beneath your skin, this message is for you. Because maybe, just maybe, you're not falling apart. You're falling into truth. There is a sacred moment, quiet and mostly unseen, where the ego begins to die, not with a scream, but with a sigh. And when that moment comes, it changes everything. Today I want to walk with you through this strange terrain. I want to share 8 signs, odd, rarely spoken of, that don't mean you're breaking down. They mean you're breaking through. These signs might not sound spiritual. They might sound too human, too confusing, but that's how you know they're real. Because the divine doesn't always arrive dressed in light. Sometimes it arrives through silence, discomfort, and undoing. And if even one of these signs touches something deep inside you, it's because your soul is remembering where it came from. The final awakening is not the first step. It's the last breath of who you thought you were. It's the moment when your identity, your story, your name, even your purpose start to dissolve into something wordless. You don't become someone new. You become presence. Imagine sitting in your favorite room, surrounded by the books, the objects, the comforts you've always loved, and suddenly, none of them feel like yours. It's not grief. It's not loss. It's the soul whispering, "You're no longer this." This isn't depression. It isn't confusion. It's something older, deeper. It's the sacred shedding of all that you are not. The mind wants to fix it, explain it, hold on to meaning. But awakening isn't about understanding. It's about surrendering. You are not broken. You are not lost. You are being emptied, so that truth has room to enter. And if you're feeling like a stranger in your own skin lately, know this: your awakening has not ended. It has only just begun to complete itself. Sign 1. Your inner voice feels distant or disappears. There comes a point when the voice inside you, the one that once guided, corrected, encouraged, begins to fade. And at first, it feels like losing a friend, a quiet companion who walked with you through doubt and clarity alike. You sit in silence, waiting for it to speak. You ask, "What do I do?" And there is no answer, no whisper, just stillness. And that stillness feels unfamiliar, maybe even unsettling. But this isn't abandonment, this is transformation. Because the voice isn't gone, it has become you. You are no longer receiving intuition, you are moving as intuition. You don't need signs anymore, because you are the sign, the compass, the knowing, the map, and the traveler. Remember when you used to sit and ask for answers? What should I do? Is this right for me? What's next? And now, strangely, you just act. There is no internal debate, no analysis, only alignment. It's like a river has stopped explaining its direction. It simply flows, and so do you. And maybe that confuses the mind, because the mind wants words, proof, logic. But presence, we doesn't speak in sentences. Presence speaks through motion, through peace, through what feels undeniably true without needing to be explained. Have you noticed that lately you can no longer think your way through decisions? That even when you try, the old methods don't work? This isn't a loss. It's a deepening. The voice inside is no longer separate from the one who hears it. There is no inner narrator now because you are living in the narration. You've become the answer you used to seek. And in that quiet, something holy rises. Not as a voice, but as a presence. Not as guidance, but as being. Sign 2. Emotional detachment from familiar objects. One morning, you walk into your favorite room, the place where your soul once felt wrapped in comfort. The warm blanket, the framed photos, the shelves lined with books that once held meaning. But something has changed, something subtle but unshakable. You look at your favorite mug, the one you've used every morning for years, and realize you no longer feel anything toward it. Not joy, not warmth, just stillness. The photo of you and your closest friend, once full of laughter and nostalgia, now feels like a picture of two strangers, familiar but distant, like a dream you vaguely recall but no longer belong to. You ask yourself, what's wrong with me? Why does everything feel so hollow? But this isn't emptiness, it's clarity. What you're feeling is not disconnection, it's disentanglement. These items didn't just decorate your life, they once told your story. They were bookmarks in your identity, but the self who clung to them is dissolving now, and with it, so is the energetic thread that held them in place. You're not becoming numb, you're becoming clear. These objects haven't changed, but you have. The energy that once flowed between you and them has been released. It's like you've been living in a costume, and each object was a piece of the character. But as the costume falls away, you realize none of it was ever truly you. It was all part of a beautiful dream, and the mind might resist this. It might say, but that was a gift from your mother, that was your favorite book. And yes, it was. But the you who needed those attachments no longer stands at the center. You might sit in your childhood room and feel like a guest. You might walk through your home and feel like a visitor in your own life. And though it's strange, it's not sadness, it's spaciousness. This is not minimalism. This is energetic shedding. The soul letting go of the stories it no longer needs to carry. You are not discarding memories. You're simply no longer merging your identity with things. You are no longer rooted in objects. You are rooting in presence. And in that space, where once there was sentimental clutter, there is now only breath. Spacious, silent, sacred breath. So, if you're feeling detached from the objects you once loved, you're not losing meaning, you're returning to it, not through things, but through being. Sign 3. Your reflection feels foreign. There comes a day when you pass by a mirror and hesitate. Not because of judgment, not because of shame, but because, in that instant, the face staring back at you doesn't feel like home. You blink once, twice. You tilt your head searching for that familiar sense of me, and instead find only a surface, a shape, a mask that has nothing to say. It's not that you've changed your appearance. It's that the part of you who once needed a face to feel real is slowly dissolving. You used to find comfort in your image, the way your hair fell, the way your smile softened the edges of your day. But lately, it feels distant, like watching an actor play a role you no longer relate to, and it's not insecurity. That's the old language. This is something deeper. This is identity slipping off like fog lifting from the sea. Have you ever stood in front of the mirror and whispered, "Who is that?" Not in fear, not in awe, just in quiet curiosity, as if greeting a stranger with the familiarity of an old dream. Your face, your hands, your voice. They're no longer who you are. They're vessels, temporary garments. You begin to feel that your body is not your home anymore. It is the temple that houses something infinite. And as strange as it sounds, this detachment doesn't bring fear. It brings stillness. As if something inside you is finally exhaling after carrying a mask for lifetimes. You look in the mirror and realize you've been trying to locate yourself in your own features, forgetting that what you are was never visible to begin with. There's a shift from seeing yourself as the person in the mirror to seeing the mirror as just another surface, just glass, just reflection, and this can feel disorienting. After all, so much of your life was spent building that image. Your style, your persona, your name. But those were chapters, not the soul. You are not that reflection. You are the one who sees, the one who breathes behind the mask, the presence that does not age, does not perform, does not need to be seen to be real. And maybe you avoid mirrors now, not out of discomfort, but out of quiet reverence, because you've realized your true self cannot be captured in glass. So if your reflection feels foreign, perhaps it's not because you're lost. Perhaps it's because, for the first time, you're remembering who you truly are, and that has never been visible. Sign 4. Loss of autobiographical memory. There may come a morning when you're asked how old you are, and for a moment you truly don't know. You pause, not from confusion, but because the number doesn't feel relevant anymore. You try to reach for it, the birth year, the exact count of years lived, but it slips through your fingers like water. Not lost, just not needed. You forget your job title. Not because you're forgetful, but because that title no longer holds meaning in your sense of self. You're not a manager or a writer or a student. You just are. Sometimes you hesitate before saying your full name, not out of fear, but because something in you knows that the name is just a sound stitched onto a much deeper silence. This isn't memory loss, it's memory cleansing. Your system is gently clearing the cluttered file cabinet of your ego's history, preparing room for presence. Think of it like deleting old apps on a phone, not because they were bad, but because they've served their purpose. And while it may feel unsettling to forget what school you went to or what you used to dream about when you were 16, it's because those dreams belonged to a version of you that no longer exists. Have you ever sat in a room full of people from your past and felt like a visitor in a museum? Like their stories still loop through time, but you're no longer anchored there? This stage is not about disconnection. It's about deprogramming. Life isn't erasing you. It's revealing you underneath all the layers you were told to wear, and yes, there may be moments when you feel like a blank page, unwritten, undefined. But perhaps that blankness is sacred. Perhaps that emptiness is the beginning of remembering the part of you that was never written in any file. You are not your résumé. You are not your timeline. You are not the story others have about you. You are the awareness that watched it all unfold and is now choosing stillness. So if you find yourself forgetting who you thought you were, breathe. The forgetting is holy. You are not disappearing. You're simply being emptied, so you can finally be filled with something real. And in this silence, without biography, you finally begin to remember what it means to simply be. Sign 5. Silence becomes emotionally overwhelming. There is a kind of silence that doesn't bring peace at first. It brings everything you've ever buried. You sit alone in your room, and it's so quiet that you begin to hear echoes. Not from the world outside, but from deep within. Unspoken goodbyes, forgotten tears, laughter you never let yourself feel. It comes without warning. This trembling in your chest, this ache in your throat, this sudden flood of feeling, as if your soul has remembered something your mind was trying to forget, and you wonder, why am I crying right now? No event triggered it, no thought explained it, but your body knew, your heart knew. This is not emotional chaos. It's not a breakdown. It's emotional truth, rising to the surface now that the noise is gone. You're finally quiet enough to hear yourself, the real self, beneath the distractions, the personas, the performance. Silence becomes the mirror, not the kind that reflects your face, but the kind that reflects your inner weather. And what it shows you is sacred. The grief you never let touch your skin, the joy you postponed for someday, the rage that burned in silence. It all rises. Like incense, not to punish, but to be honored. Have you noticed? The quieter your world becomes, the louder your soul begins to speak. But not with words, with sensations, with sudden trembling, with soft weeping. And you realize you've lived most of your life over the hum of distraction, unaware of what your own heart was trying to tell you. But here, in this sacred hush, there's no escaping the truth. It doesn't chase you. It just waits, softly, patiently, until you're ready to feel it. This isn't spiritual failure. This is emotional honesty, the raw presence of self, finally unfiltered by noise. Can you trust it? Can you let the wave pass through without asking why, without needing to fix or name it? Because when you do, the emotion passes and what remains is stillness that doesn't feel empty. It feels alive. You're not falling apart. You're falling open. The silence is not your enemy. It is your teacher. And in it, you're finally meeting the one person you've spent a lifetime running from, yourself. Sign 6. You withdraw from shallow conversations. There comes a time on this path when your voice no longer wants to echo in empty rooms. You find yourself mid-conversation, smiling, nodding, playing the part. But something inside you is elsewhere, gently slipping away like mist dissolving into the morning light. It's not that you don't care. It's not arrogance. It's that your inner compass has become painfully precise. It only turns toward truth, and truth doesn't often live in small talk. Not in surface laughter, not in the automatic exchange of "how are you?" followed by "I'm fine," when neither word is meant. You begin to notice how your nervous system tenses around inauthenticity, how your energy contracts when words are spoken without presence. So you start to step back, not dramatically, just quietly. You let the phone ring. You delay the reply. You sit in the quiet instead. And in that silence, you don't feel lonely. You feel aligned. You might walk through a crowded room and feel more at peace in your own breath than in the noise around you. Something shifts. You stop chasing connection. You start listening for resonance. The space you used to fill with talking, you now fill with noticing. How does this feel in my body? Is this conversation lifting me or leaking me? You begin to value absence more than presence. Not because people don't matter, but because most of what we call presence is actually noise. Silence to you is no longer emptiness, it's clarity, it's sanctuary. It's the temple where your intuition speaks, and you realize you'd rather share one quiet moment of realness with someone than hours of talking where nothing true is said. So if you find yourself withdrawing, it's not because something is wrong. It's because something is finally right. Your soul is fine-tuning the station. You no longer dance to static. You move only when the music of truth plays. Sign 7. You enter zero-point emotion. There comes a moment, quiet and almost unnoticed, when you no longer chase emotions the way you once did. You don't feel numb, you feel still. Not empty, but full in a way that no longer demands a name. Happiness no longer excites you in the same way, because you see how fleeting it is. Sadness no longer scares you, because you've stopped resisting the dark. You've lived long enough in the storm to realize that peace is not the absence of emotion. It's the space between them. You might wake up and feel nothing in particular. No joy, no sorrow, just breath, just being. And somehow, that's enough. This is not disconnection, it's transcendence. You no longer need to feel something to know you're alive. You just are. The highs don't pull you up like they used to. The lows don't drag you under. Everything has become level, like water that has found its shore. You begin to notice how peace is not a state you reach. It's a presence that arises when you stop performing for your emotions. And in this quiet, you discover a strange kind of freedom. The kind that comes not from getting what you want, but from no longer needing anything to be different than it is. Some may look at you and wonder, have you given up? But the truth is, you've simply stopped clinging. You've stopped needing emotional fireworks to know your soul is awake. You've stopped mistaking intensity for meaning. So if you feel neither joy nor sadness right now, if everything feels quiet and oddly neutral, this isn't the end. This is the center, the still point, the zero. From here, a new kind of life begins. Not one ruled by emotion, but one held in presence. Sign 8. Ongoing sense that something is coming. There is a quiet pulse inside you, a soft and steady hum that whispers, something is coming. You wake up with that feeling again, the sense that today, perhaps, will be the day something shifts. But the day moves on, and nothing happens. No big event, no revelation. Just ordinary hours passing like clouds. And yet, that feeling doesn't go away. You might question it, doubt yourself, wonder if you're just imagining things, but part of you knows. This isn't false hope, it's not anxiety, it's something deeper. This isn't anticipation, it's alignment. It's like your soul is gently preparing the ground, sweeping away debris, clearing space for something that doesn't have a name yet. It's the same sensation you feel before a storm arrives. Not fear, but electricity in the air, a readiness in your bones. But this storm isn't outside of you. It's within. It's not a force that comes to shake your life. It's a presence that wants to be born through it. And so you wait. Not passively, but consciously. You find yourself letting go of things that no longer match this incoming energy. You clean the room you never cared about. You pause before replying to texts that feel heavy. You make space in your calendar and in your chest. This is not waiting for something to happen to you. It's the preparation of becoming who you already are, without the noise. You are not lost. You are not stalled. You are not broken. You are becoming. There is no rush, no timeline, no deadline. Only a sacred unfolding that listens to your soul, not your clock. So if you've felt that strange anticipation lately, the quiet readiness with no visible reason, trust it. You're not imagining things. You're aligning. Something is coming. And that something is you. You rarely recognize the moment you've entered the final stage of awakening. It doesn't arrive like a grand trumpet or a mystical vision. It doesn't knock on your door and announce this is it. It arrives quietly, in the stillness between thoughts, in the space between who you were and who you no longer need to be. The mind doesn't know how to describe it, so it stops trying. The stories fall away. The timeline dissolves. You stop tracking your progress because there's nothing left to chase. The masks you wore for safety, for love, for identity, they fall. Not with drama or destruction, but with grace. Like autumn leaves loosening after their final season. You feel strange, untethered, maybe even invisible. But beneath the strangeness, something deeper stirs. Something ancient, wordless, and whole. This isn't about becoming spiritual. This is about becoming real. Not adding anything, but removing everything that isn't you. This isn't confusion. This is completion. If you've been feeling lost, if your world feels like it's quietly dissolving around you, if the things that once made sense no longer hold meaning, let it happen. Let it fall. Let yourself unbecome. Because what's left when the noise stops is truth. Maybe, just maybe, this isn't a breakdown. Maybe it's your soul completing its return home. And if any part of this message found a quiet yes inside you, you're not alone. You're not behind. You're becoming. This is your time, your chapter, your emergence. Subscribe if you feel called. Not to follow more noise, but to walk deeper into the silence that's been waiting for you. The next chapter begins when the noise ends.